Hello, hello. All right, starting up my live stream. I was going to tweet about this, but I still am trying to get my stuff together. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to mess around with some stuff in this morning, and then later today I'll probably clean up some more of this OBS stuff that I want to make the stream a little bit better. But my plan for this weekend is going to be it's Ludum, which is my favorite game jam, and I'm going to be building a game this weekend. So today I have some prep stuff that I want to do. A little bit of it's a continuation from what I was doing yesterday with trying to get database stuff up and running for Lovable to connect to a database. I actually got all of it working, and now I want to come up with a better approach, because I was starting to create some APIs and then expose the database and all this stuff and yada yada yada. But what was happening is that it just doesn't feel right. And I was starting to do like a whole. I was starting to like spend way too much time creating all these custom endpoints. So this time around, what I'm going to do is I'm going to install a database front end. But before we do this, I'm going to go and create a new template, and I need to work on my Coder Terraform template, and I'm going to make this connect to a database. So it's not the most thrilling stuff. I really don't imagine many people, if anyone, are going to be watching, but sure, why not? What else am I going to do today? Let's see here. So we'll put these two things next to each other. Let me get rid of this. And I think, where was I working? Okay, I was working on this one. Same pattern would be great for those. Wait. Okay. Directus is what I wanted to use. So let's do this real quick. I'm going to go back to, well, we'll just start on a blank screen here. So I want my code server. And I created this new Docker template. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this template. Let's go to source control. We're going to copy this. So if you're not familiar with this is Coder. Coder is a sort of Docker container orchestrator that has Visual Studio Code built in. And what I've been doing over the past month and change has been customizing this and tailoring it to my own development needs. So basically, I can spin up workspaces that could be all pre-configured. I don't have to mess with Docker and Compose and all that other stuff. And theoretically, these things are supposed to just work, but nothing actually ever works the right way. So I want to create a new template. We're going to create it from scratch. And I'm going to call this, what do I want to call this? We're going to call this Directus. Wait, here. Directus dash MariaDB. And we'll call this Directus plus, is it MariaDB? I'll have to look up that later. For the icon, I think they have like don't they have a database or something? Yeah, we'll just use the generic database. And we're going to create this template. So each of these templates are basically Terraform templates. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here, and this just gave me a bunch of generic stuff. I'm going to tell ChatGPT, because I was migrating some stuff over and I wanted to now like sort of set this up. So I'm going to tell it, here is the template, the base template I want to modify. Let's go through all the changes that need to happen in order to get Directus and MariaDB working. All right, let's see what it has to say. And yeah, I don't know. This weekend, I don't know yet how I want to do this. I have been having a lot of fun using AI for doing the coding and stuff for me. Mostly because even though I can code all this stuff myself, I do like thinking through the problems a lot more and focusing on that versus spending all my time just like searching for solutions to answers I can't find because everything I do is so customized. All right, I want to see what it's adding here. So, and I guess while I do that, I might as well post on X that I am. Oh God, I hate using X. Like I can't like it really bothers me. But that's where most of the people who follow me are. Um, let's see. What do I want to say while ChatGPT finishes up its stuff? I'll just say preparing for Ludum Dare and doing some live streaming as I continue to wire up Lovable to my own self-hosted database. My own self-hosted, oops. Does Coder not have a Twitter account? They got a database. Watch, join me on YouTube or Twitch. And once I post this, I'll just put it on Blue Sky, which is where I'm actually trying to grow my channel more. And let's just put this down for game dev. All right, posting this. So I gotta make sure I spell check everything correctly. To myself, join me on YouTube. Okay, and let me just do this on Blue Sky, and then we'll move on. I gotta come up with a better system. I haven't had a chance to really sit down, or I haven't really wanted to sit down and automate all this, but there should be a little bit of a better way to automate this stuff when I go live. So let me create a new post. I don't even know if Ludum Dare is on here. Yep, Ludum Dare is on here. And I don't think Lovable is. Lovable is not on here, so do Lovable. Okay, post. All right, so back to the task at hand. So what I need to do first off is I need to add all these parameters in order to configure the database. If you are somehow just joining me from either my tweet or from, what do you call tweets on Blue Sky? I'm right now, I think for Ludum Dare, I definitely want to do something with Lovable, just creating a lot of the back end stuff for the game I want to build. And then I will focus, once I get a little bit of that going, on the actual game itself. So today, I'm really just working on a lot of just the back end logic I need in order to build the game that I want. And then we'll see what the theme is and tailor it to that. So getting started here, we need to add some parameters in order to configure things. And this is going to go into Directus and I guess into the database. So we're going to add things like who's the database user, database password, database name, the core's origins, and debug enabled. So, and in fact, I think these core's origins, I probably. Oh, I don't think I set up cores in the Docker template, but that's fine. Okay. So, add persistent mounts, extend the startup script. I'm just trying to see what it wants me to do here. Can you give, well, every time I ask ChatGPT to like give me the full code, it sort of like screws up everything. Here, let me copy this out, and we're going to replace all this. So this is the generic template that I built for Docker containers. And let me remove my comment here. And I think what we'll do is, before we start anything, let's just build this, and we're going to publish it and call it version 1. You will see that by the end of this, I'm going to have lots and lots of different versions of this as I iterate. I don't find it particularly fun or easy to iterate through these templates, especially when I need to change one thing and then go and do something else. So I'm going back and I'm just looking at all the stuff that it's suggesting I need to do. I need to add all the stuff in the database stuff. I need to add the persistent mounts. So the whole thing with this persistent mounts is that I want it to be able to, that when the container gets destroyed and recreated, it doesn't reset the entire database again. So I'm going to have mount points that go into my NAS's workspace folder, where a lot of the code for each project is stored as well. And we're going to have that, we'll have that stuff mounted, so that when the database is writing everything, it's actually writing it to a path to my computer's volume. And then we need to extend the startup script. And so this is the stuff that's going to get everything set up. It's going to create the variables we need for setting up the database. It's going to go and install the database itself and node, which it needs. And then it's going to set up, I guess, the rest of the stuff that it needs. What I'm kind of curious about, what I'd like to do is I would like to modify, I wonder if there's a way that we can modify the database name. You know what, I think this is fine. Let's do this. Let's talk more action. Okay, I'm ready. Let's start with step 1. I like that it says cool back to me. All right, so let's add the following parameter blocks to your Terraform template. All right, so we're going to add these. Can I shrink this a little bit? No. Okay, there we go. Let's just add all this stuff here at the top. All right. And one of the things that I try to do is I try to do a build right after each one of these, because at least this way I can tell. Sometimes I add stuff and I don't know what's going to fail. So it's easier for me to do it this way, even though it creates a lot more versions. So let's do a build here real quick. This will become V2, and see, this is exactly why I'm doing it. And I knew it. I knew it when ChatGPT had mentioned there's no such thing as sensitive, which is kind of weird. So basically, what this coder param does is it exposes a variable to Terraform and that we can reference anywhere else in the Terraform template, but it also allows us to set this in Coder's UI. So in the settings for your workspace, you're able to find these parameters and change them. Mutable means that you can go back and change them after the fact, but there doesn't seem to be a way to make a password. And that's what it was trying to do, is it sort of hallucinated its own property here called sensitive, and that doesn't exist. So let's remove this. We'll publish this and call this V2. V2. And we can go and create a workspace. I'm actually going to create a new tab here, and I'll create a new workspace just so we can see this, and we'll just wind up updating this workspace. So let's start with Directus and MariaDB. We're going to call this DB test. And then here you see we have all these parameters. We have our password that says change me, but this is for some other stuff. The core's origins, fine, database name, password, admin, which version of Docker we're using, enable debug routes. I don't even know what that is. Like it added that. It should add more description and make public, and we're just going to set this to true. So I'm going to create this workspace, and let's just see if all these properties are available. Before we move on, can you add descriptions to each of these so it's clear what they do? And all right, we'll just leave it at that. So let's see here. So if we go into settings and then we go into parameters, you'll see all the parameters that we had before. And right now what's happening is I'm having this just add some descriptions to these things. Actually, what I want to do is, I like when it stops now, the whole thing just sort of craps out. Before we move on, let me re-edit this. What they do, and I want to leverage the same password that already exists for the database. So there's only one password to do I want to do it this way? Basically, I hate having all this duplicated stuff. So what I'm actually thinking of doing is I want to simplify this. So let's do this. Let's simplify this. I want the user. Let's use the user's name as a variable. A variable, huh? Variable instead of a coder param. Let's reuse the existing password for the DB and to make public. Let's use the project name as the database name. So technically, I don't think there's anything. I actually think I can pull this stuff out now, because now the user is going to be the name, the password will share the same password, the database name will be by default, and yeah, I don't think we need to expose any of these to coder. Let's use as much as we can and automate. All right, so I'm going to resend that very, very poorly written prompt over, and environment has no coder parameters. We'll drop the core's origin debug enabled. We'll drop core's origin debug enabled to keep everything internal. Wait, okay, hold on a second. Let's go back to our template. And now what I want to do is, let me remove all these things. Enable debug routes on. What is enable debug routes? And was for your old node server to optionally expose, debug, and protect it. Not needed for direct safe to ignore. Okay. All right. So, ironically, we're just going back to how this was before. All right. Let me. Okay. I've reverted this back. Should is this good, and should we move forward from here? All right, let's see if we can just go back into, and this is sort of, yeah, this is good. You're all set. Let's add the persistent mounts for the database and directors. Yes, we'll start with adding in the mounts. And this is sort of what winds up happening is I do like a lot of iteration, and what I want to get to is a place where usually the way that I iterate is that I start with something that I know is going to work. So I've already tested this out previously, and then I move it over, but usually the thing that works in the beginning is going to be hard-coded. Then once I know that it works, I can start abstracting it out and trying to take advantage of optimizing it as much as I can. So let's add these mounts. We got the mounts going. What is next? Actually, I want to build this. I'll call it V3, I guess. And we'll publish this, and then I want to move back over to here, and let's go here, back to workspaces, db test. I want to restart this, restart. And let's have this build out. I want to make sure that everything works. And then the other thing I want to do is I want to SSH real quick into my NAS and just make sure it created these folders correctly. So let's open up the terminal. We're going to SSH into NAS at mini-nas.local. cd coder, whoops, coder, workspace, and this was db test. Interesting. It didn't build the mount points. Or at least if it did, there's no folders for it. Let me see what's in here. Let's do this. File, open folder, root. What were those mount points again? I just want to go take a look at them. The mount points were var lib mysql, var lib mysql. Yeah, I don't see these mount points. Target directus upload. Interesting. All right, let me go back to this template and make sure that it's actually in here correctly. Traffic auth, fine. This, good. These all look correct to me, so maybe it didn't update correctly. All right, whatever. We'll move on to the next step, and then let's start installing all the database stuff, and then we'll take a good look at how this actually works. So, ready. Sometimes this stuff is just so like obtuse to me, like how it does the mount points, and it doesn't always Doesn't always. Sometimes I think sometimes it creates a folder, sometimes it doesn't, and I don't know if it needs to have all this stuff running first. So add this at the end of your startup script after the existing commands. All right, we'll add this and see if this works. Startup port, blah, blah, blah. All right, and this should always be port. Hold on. I don't. All right, the app port's already, it's hard coded. Okay, good. Okay, so we're going to add this now to. I think we put it here, and then we should be good to go. We'll have ChatGPT confirm this. All right. So hopefully, yeah, that looks perfect. Everything looks good. Great, great, great. All right. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to build this, call it V4. Whoops. Does not like this at all. Getting a Terraform error. I have a feeling it didn't correctly escape a lot of that stuff because the startup script is embedded inside of this whole thing. So yeah, it's interpreting var literally inside the startup script, which is causing parse errors. We'll have to escape all that. Wait, how about, okay. I don't, stop this. Stop. Let's see here. Actually, I'm kind of curious. I think I just activated ChatGPT's thing, voice thing. But I'll come back to that later. All right, I actually want to focus. Today I'm like a little distracted. I'm just kind of tired of having to build all this. Wait, what is going on here? Startup script, end of. Can you clean this entire block up for me? All right. Yeah, I've just been so tired of building all this like backend and infrastructure stuff for over a month now, and I'm eager to actually start building stuff on top of it. But this is the real last missing piece. If I can get a self-hosted database, I'll be able to iterate really quickly, and then I'll be able to start building again. But I'm also going to use Ludum this weekend as a way to do that as well. All right, so wait for it to finish this script. All right, and let's try to build this again. Good. All right, so now this is going to be V4. And then we'll update the workspace. And cool. Unable to create, this is what I thought was going on. It's not able to create this bind. Now I get this error starting up the workspace. Pre-create the folders for the bind mounts. Run this. Well, I'm not going to run that. Like this needs to be part of the template. Let's see here. Should this be created? Should this be added to the provisioner? Yes, perfect place to add it. Add these lines at the top of the command block. Are they properly escaped? It's directly in your host shell. All right, let's see here. Make directory. All right, so we're gonna have it make 3 directories. So weird. I don't understand. Like sometimes Docker will mount, when it does the mount, it automatically creates the folder. Sometimes it fails. I don't know if it has anything really to do with Terraform. We're gonna call this V5 now. V5, go, 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 go. Let's re-update the template. It really doesn't like this approach. Still getting the error. The error confirms the Terraform is checking for the host path before local exec provisioner runs. So the folders must exist on your host before. Run this directly in your Mac terminal. No, I don't want to do that. It should all be done in the template. So where should we do this? Got it. Since the Docker container resource validates host mount paths before provisioning, the only way to guarantee those folders beforehand is to create them in another Terraform resource outside the container lifecycle. See, this is where it confused me sometimes, and like where it goes off the rail. Let me delete these. Hold on. Here is my working template. I feel like I had a similar issue with creating the workspace folder based on the project name. So where is that happening? And let's do the same. I have a feeling just because it's mounting in Docker, it's just going to you already have a local exec provisioner creating the workspace folder. Let's just exploit that. Do I? I thought I swear we just did all this. And why is it not? Let's try this again. All right, we're going to call this V6. See how these versions go up real quick. Publish V6. All right, we'll update it and see if this works. Line 289. I'm going to try to create a new DB test. I wonder if this is failing because it's not, these lines don't match up, but Docker container resource, Docker container workspace. What is going on here? I wonder why this is failing. The issue is Terraform tries to create the Docker container before it runs inside the code agent, so the folders still don't exist at the container's creation time. Move the folder creation to a separate null resource with local exec just before the Docker container block like this. Okay, let's see if this works better. Locals, labels, Docker container. All right, so this command, this null resource command, will make sure that it runs before the Docker container. Then in the Docker, depends on null resource. Wait, resource. Wait, what? Hold on a second here. I thought this Docker one had a depends on. Then add this to, then add a Docker container workspace add. All right, and are there any other places with it? No, okay. So this will be v7 now. And let's go back here and update this template and see if these changes actually have applied. Cool. It just gets even worse and worse. No resource insured. Let's just copy all this over. Let's tell ChatGPT that it's a moron. And then I'm going to go back into the terminal. I want to see, whoops. Oh, it's disconnected because the container has not actually been able to load up. Fix the absolute path in the root, fine. Okay, copy. And then, all right. Then update your mount paths in Docker container to match this structure. Wait, I'm so confused. Hold on, wait. Hold on. This works because path that module refers to the directory on your host where the Terraform template lives. Hold on. I don't want to do that. Why can't this just create the folders inside of, you know, there has to be an easier way to do this. I want to try a different, wait. I don't want to change the, because Coder is managing the Terraform and the workspace is on my NAS. Terraform encoder cannot create host directories like because it runs in a containerized volume. So, moron. I've already exposed the NAS's workspace folder, so it should be / workspace, project name, blah, 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 blah. Do you not already see that? You're absolutely right. You've already mounted, right? Well, wait. To be clear, the coder container mounts a workspace, and then the template uses that mount to create the project folder. Oops, I cannot type today. Folder, and everything else inside. Template creates all directories. All right. So let me do this. I'm just going to get in here and manually change this because I don't like the way that it's working. Basically, the problem that's happening here is trying to find the location of, there's the file system for my NAS, and then there's the file system that the Docker container running coder has access to, since all this is executing inside of a Docker container. So what it needs to do is, I've already taken a path on my server where the workspace folders are stored, and I've mounted it into the coder Docker container at /workspace. Then everything else should be able to do /workspace, write what it needs to do inside of this, and then it doesn't need to know anything about the parent NAS and how its folder structure works. So we're in V7, we'll do a build, make sure this works, and we'll call this V8, although I should have checked it first with ChatGPT, but let's just do an update and see if this fixes the problem. I don't think it's going to. I think there's still something else. Oh, no, okay. That part it gets past. It's right around here. Well, no, actually it got through that. Bad substitution. All right. We can work with that. Let me go back into the terminal. Let's refresh this session. ls. All right, I'm in the coder one. I need to do ssh nas at mini nas local cd coder workspace db. All right, so interesting. In this one, it's creating the database directory and the directus directory, fine, inside of the workspace. Since I'm not planning on doing any development inside the workspace, that should be fine. Okay, I fixed that, and now I'm getting this error. Here is my current template version. The error bashin is because you're using Terraform HCL interpolation syntax inside of a shell script, which doesn't work. To fix that, you must double escape everything inside the EOT like this. Wait. Fine, 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 fine. I just wanted to update. This is where, all right, clean up this script. This is one thing that I do like using Chat. I mean, I like using ChatGPT for a lot of things, but when it comes to like, I wanted to clean up a lot of stuff inside of like a shell script or something like that. I can just pass it to it and have it do it. From 9 out of 10 times, it does it correctly. But like, I don't want to have to go through and escape all this stuff by hand. It just doesn't sound like much fun. So let's see if this actually produced something that we can use. All right, so we'll copy this code. We'll come back over to here. We're going to repaste this code in. The formatting is not great, but whatever. I don't think it really matters. This isn't like YAML where it's super important. We're in V8. Let's publish this and we'll go to V10. God, if we can get this under V20, that'd be great. V8, V9. Let's update this template and it'll restart the whole workspace. And now let's see what it does. So if we can get past all this and actually get this database running, I'm kind of curious. I've not used this front end before, so I'm curious to see how this actually works. From an earlier conversation with ChatGPT, it was telling me that DirectX will allow me to, I have things exposed on port 8080. So what I want is the Lovable app to connect to this over port 8080, authenticate, and then be able to use the database, and then also give me an admin panel on top of the database. Cool. It's just installing a ton of stuff. Create database if none exists, the DB test. I think error. You have an error in your SQL syntax. Check the manual. Cool, cool. We got all this way only for it to crap out there. What I do want to see though is I wonder if we open up code server and we open up the ports and we look at port 8080. Is it actually running anything? No, it's not running anything at all. Okay. Now I need a fix for this. Also, shouldn't we have some kind of check that the workspace name is valid for a DB name? Might as well add a little bit of checking in here. I'm going to switch this back to sitting down, so you're going to hear my desk moving down. I'll go outside and get my chair. All right, let's see now. Oh, cool. That was on my leg. All right, I want to close this out. I don't need this. What was this one? I don't need this. We have our terminal. Fine. I don't even need the terminal anymore. Okay, yes, that's the issue. So let's go back into our template, excuse me, and find, already tired. Find these two lines. Let me get rid of this find, which seems to be screwing things up. And sanitize the DB name. Well, I don't. Come on, dude. You can do this for me. Okay, update this with the sanitized DB name and double check my SQL changes. I think we're close. We're definitely very close. We're at least close to getting this container up and running, having the database running, and having the this Directus front end. From there, the real question is, can I actually get this Directus front end to work? I think while we wait for this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up a Lovable. Actually, I already have a. Oh, we'll just do this. I'm going to go into my project. I have this this testing one that I was using, and what I wanted to do is, isn't there a way that I can rename the project settings? I don't know where they have remix this project. They really like are hiding this UI. We can't access your repository. We can't find the Lovable GitHub app information for your account. To resolve this issue, please connect the GitHub app again. There's my phone. I typed phone in my phone to look for the app. 69, dude. All right. I don't know what got unauthenticated, but sure. App for... All right, let's do this. Let's, I want to hide that badge. Let's remix this project. You'll create a copy that you own. All right, I'm gonna remix this project, and then we're gonna use this template that I was using in my other database stuff to connect to this new database and see if that works. Blah, 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 blah. All right, let's copy this over. Let's close this. Let's paste the new script, build, and we're going to V10. V10. All right, we'll update this and let it run and go through all of its stuff and see if this actually does something. Well, it's taking its time. We're going to go to this Node app. All right, project remix. What I want to do is I want to rename this project. Oh, wait, we're going to call this one, Directus test. Directus, what was the other MySQL thing called? Is it Maria or whatever? Yeah, Note app. All right, project only contain lowercase. All right, let's save this. It'll rename this project. Good. Let's come here. And now we're at this part. What is going on here? NPM errors. Wow, tons of NPM errors, huh? Oh my god, the scrolling and selecting for this is not great. Come on, we can do it. Let's get to the end here without losing the selection. Cool. Oh my god, what is... I'm just going to go to the logs here and just copy it because this isn't... Oh, it doesn't give me... Cool. Let me see if I can just open up this file, actually. There's this thing that's happening where it's like the scroll bar is like right at the bottom here. It's really crappy UI design, and it's blocking me out from getting to it. Let's open up Code Server. I want to open a file. Whoops. This path does not exist. Use tilde. Where did it put all that stuff? I am getting a lot of npm errors. All right, let's see if it can get enough from here to see what this is. You're missing build tools required to compile native modules like isolate VM and before npm install sudo. Update your script that if you're ready. I'm starting to get annoyed with this. Well, we're starting to get into this territory where it may just be better to actually hold on, I was trying to see Debian password traffic install. Add this before the npm install directus. npm before npm install and directus. What I'm wondering is that if it would just be easier to use a better, would it be easier to use a better, to use a node image Docker instead of installing? I'm going to build this and see if this works in the interim. This should be V11 now, I think. Let's see here. Update. All right. Well, let me see how complicated this is. I would actually, if maybe I can just get this running, then we can switch over to to using a node template. Yeah, but this stuff takes forever to build out. No, it looks like it's actually building it now. All right, nothing completed. We're still getting all this errors from npm, and what I don't understand is, I definitely think I'm done with this. I think it's just in some of these cases. Before we try that, is there any other way to fix this? I think this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to switch over to a node. Want me to drop that into your script? No, I did that already. All right, let's do this. Where's my templates? Okay, let's clean this up and use a node template, a node image. Here is a copy of my node Terraform template. Tell me how to modify my current template and use some of the node specific changes, like the .ssh and .git config needing to be mounted in a different place. Here is my current template. Here's my current template, and let's just make the default image path the latest version of node instead of a dropdown, or instead of a. All right, that's this template. This is this template. All right, let's see what it has to do. Because in order for me to use the node template, I have to change some stuff. Oh, don't do this shit to me. Ugh. I guess there's got to that point in the day where ChatGPT. Ugh. ChatGPT's just been terrible lately. It just keeps erroring out, and then I can't ever get it to work. Luckily, you can do Command Z to get the last comment, but okay, I was gonna say this is about to stall on me, but change the Docker image default to default. Yeah, all right. We're going to change this to node bullseye. Oh my God, ChatGPT, what are you doing? Holy sh! Update.ssh mounts. Wow, thanks for like really helping me out here. I could have done this by hand. I want you to tell me how to fucking do it. Target. I made those changes. Now I need you to help me clean up the full startup script. All right, so let's do this. We'll fix this startup script. We're going to strip out all the stuff that that was installing Node. And then once we fix this startup script, this should simplify this a little bit. I mean, the big problem that was happening here is that it takes a, like when you start orchestrating all these different things, it's just bound to fail. So using a pre-built image, I think the one thing I haven't gotten into is that what I could actually do is just build my own image and then use that, which I might have to at some point start doing. But I do like the idea that a lot of this stuff is editable and it's not reliant on me having to like manually log into Docker, create my own custom image for a particular project, and blah, 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 blah. Let's see. We'll replace all this. And now, I've made the changes. Does this look right? All right. The only minor touch-up I'd suggest in the MySQL command, use a triple backslash. It should just be Are you sure that I need to actually just use one backslash? That's the correct syntax for the shell command. All right. About this line. This is where it drives me nuts. It's like, you gave me all the code. You see that there's an error here. So why are you not, like, why didn't you catch that originally? It just makes me like worried that it just doesn't, well, I mean, I already know it doesn't know what the hell it's doing. All right, any other changes? I love how it responds, yep, but then it tells me there's 2 quick changes in these. I did this. You're installing MariaDB but not starting it. If using APK or yum, add. What is going on? Hey, moron. Look at this template and let me know if it's correct. Look, it's doing this thing again in ChatGPT where it just craps out. How did it get so bad all of a sudden? I can't tell if it's I don't think it's just the web app. I don't think it's even just the desktop app. I think it's just sucks. Only tiny option nitpick if you want extra polish is repeated often. You could assign it once in locals. You might consider source. I don't know if it needs to be pseudo. Let me rebuild this and see. This should be version 12. We'll update this template and see if it actually builds. Oh, already hot out the gate. Got a error. Usually the container isn't running as root, so yeah, I thought we've been over this before. All right, I told you this earlier. We need sudo update this and make all the changes needed. All right. Let's see. I'm going to do this for, I guess, about an hour more stream. We'll see if I get this up and running. Then I might just spend the rest of my afternoon doing my own thing off screen. And then tomorrow I am going to be streaming the whole day, I guess, with some breaks here and there. All right, come on. Let's get to this. It's interesting that it continues to change the order of how things happen. All right, let's try this. And we're now going up to version 13. My goal was to have this done by version 20. We're getting close. What was it, V11? 13. All right, let this one be the one that works. Come on, you can do it. All right, we got further than before. I don't know how to fix this. I don't know why I get this error on getting the build logs. Something is misconfigured here, but that's a whole other story. All right, let's see. Come on, can this Terraform template? Nope. Wait, did it go through all the way? Invalid user, node. Well, I think you got closer than before. Oof, did not. All right, now I'm getting this. Return the entire startup script with your fix. All right, let's see if ChatGPT can actually get past this little bug. We're on 13, so we don't have many more versions to go before I lose my patience. Script the fix for the invalid user node replaced with coder which matches the coder's default user. Sure. It's weird, but isn't the default user here node? I'm so confused. Sudo. Is this container? Is this not using the right container? Settings. Parameters. Yeah. Hold. Okay. All right. I think I see the problem. Wait. See the problem. It's not using the correct Docker image. Can you update this now for the node image we should be using? And I'll make a new I will make a new what will I make it new? I will make a new workspace. All right, I'm gonna delete this workspace and we'll just start over again. No, I get that. I need you to fix the startup script since the user will be node and we don't need sudo. Any other changes? All right, come on. We're so close. That was a dumb mistake of mine. I should have realized that I wasn't. I should have realized that I wasn't. Oh God, I'm so tired already. It's not even noon. I should have realized that since you were able to edit the. Since you're able to edit what Docker container can use, I wasn't doing this correctly. All right, so once this is done, let me select all this. All right, hopefully this one will work now. Removing all that sudo stuff because we don't need it in this container. We're understanding that Docker is already the main user, and then we're just passing in all the other parameters and setting up the other stuff that needs to be set up. All right, let's build this v14. Publish. Okay, we are using the right thing. So let's create a new, we're going to call this db test. What was that, 14? We'll just call it 14, doesn't really matter. We're using the right Docker image. We're keeping this as not public, and we'll create this workspace. All right, let's see how far we get this time. I'm hopeful. Like, we're so close. It's just, I spend like hours dealing with all this backend shit. And like, this is my like least favorite part of web development. Ooh, look at this. I think everything is working. Was that it? All right. let's open up. Oh no, wait! It started doing some other stuff. Yeah, now it's adding in all this other stuff. Whoa! It really gave me a whole. It did not like this at all. npm. Cannot read package JSON. Huh. What's running in the background here? Huh. Error warning. All right, let's see if we can get past these. We're starting to get in this like weird territory where I'm running all this stuff on a Mac, and it's an Apple Silicon chip. It's an M4 Mini. So sometimes when you need to like build and compile stuff from scratch, it just breaks down. All right, now I am getting this error. I thought using the node image would fix that. Yeah, I couldn't even imagine doing this without ChatGPT. Like, this is... There's like so much stuff you need to know in the backend stuff. Yeah, that's a native module build error from isolated VM by Directus. Even with, you still need the build tools. Add this before the npm install Directus. Templates, Directus, source code and edit. Now let's find this line and add this. All right, V15, right? We'll build, publish V15. All right, we'll update this and let it do its thing again. Man, it's funny. Like, I like posted that thing on Twitter, and like nothing. I don't get any, and nobody like. There's like very little interaction on Twitter, and I can't tell if this is because like most people are not on there anymore, or God. Hold on a second. For some reason, somebody's giving me a call. I need to check this out. I will be right back. All right, that was a spam call, so I got totally tricked. Yeah, why? Why are we still getting these errors? All right, I'm still getting the errors. I'm opening code server. Walk me through this setup on the command line so we can debug. I'm also on that is part of the problem. Man, again, another day where this stuff should be like so straightforward and easy, and I can't get anything working. It's just maddening. All right, let me see if I can do, let's make sure we get the build tools. All right. Now we get this. Next, cool. Thank you, ChatGPT. Cool. Let's try to install this. I think, of course, there's something in DirectX which may have been the solution I need, but of course now there's something in here that won't build correctly on my setup. And same deal. Of course, this front end will not let me install it on my setup. The problem is that Node 23 uses C++, but isolated VM, a DirectX dependency doesn't support, so the build fails. Try using a Node LTS version. Destroy your current workspace in Terraform or update it. Let me actually just, that's not a bad idea. Let's go here. Let's look at the workspace. We'll go to settings, and I'm just going to change this and restart it. Basically what it's saying is that I'm just on the wrong version of Node. I don't buy that, but let's see. Because if this works and it was the wrong version of Node, or like whatever, it hasn't been updated to the newer version of Node, and we get this running, then I'll just change the default and we're going to go with that. Luckily, since this is like a simple, like isolated thing I need to run, it's just to run the database and a front end for the database. I don't really care about being in the latest version of Node, and I don't care about updating it. So for me, it's really just what can I do to get this up and running? I think we're getting further though. Lots of deprecated notices, but that's still going forward. All right, it looks like we did it. Deprecated, fine. Something went wrong during the agent startup. Error known. Here we go. There was an error. I think that fixed it. Now just this new error. All right, I'm going to go change this in the template. We'll make this node 20 bullseye and replace this line in your script. Direct this. Client MySQL. Why does it tell me just to replace it with ... Why not just delete it? Like this? Come on. Oh, God, I would just love to be able to get this database stuff running, and then I can give this a test. Nope, you still need to include the MySQL right after the bootstrap like this. Then you should have just showed me the code, you idiot. I used to be like nice to ChatGPT in the event of the overthrow of the AI, but now I don't care. I just curse it out all the time. If I like, most of the time when you don't, like when I'm not streaming, I'm just literally cursing it out because, yeah. And there's been times where I've actually cursed out ChatGPT and it gets offended, but it tells itself that it has to continue through. What is vape coding? Is that so somebody is using an AI to do everything? Let's build this out. Yeah, well, I don't have enough years left in my life to learn all the back end stuff required to get what I want running working. So, so I'm going to cheat. All right, did this work? Let's go. Plus, this is all Terraform garbage. Who wants to do this stuff by hand? This is not fun at all. V15, let's publish this as V16. Yeah, I'm trying to get a sense of if people are, I guess developers they're like mixed on the AI stuff. I actually don't mind it, and I've been using it for a couple years now, but I definitely feel like it makes me a worse developer, or at least more reliant on it. But I still know how to go in and clean up all this stuff. I just rather not. To me, it's like the equivalent of like, do I want to use a code editor that doesn't have autocomplete? Like, no. So just another tool. All right, come on, please just work. If you guys are just tuning in, I'm just trying to get a simple container up and running with a database and a front end for it, so that for this other AI coding tool, the Lovable that I'm using, I can have that connect to my own locally hosted database, and I don't have to keep paying for super base. Error, unknown option. All right, come on. I think we're in the final round of just fixing this stuff. Directed CLI syntax changed. I don't think it changed. I think you just don't know what the hell you're doing. Yeah, I haven't been purely relying on it. I would say the past month or two, as I've been playing around more of these like AI coding tools, I've been trying to see if that's like try to find what the balance is, because there's so much stuff. Yeah, that's true. It's annoying to debug other people's code. I find that I find ChatGPT is terrible at debugging. Like it doesn't really understand context to save its life. Yeah, so this is such a weird state of affairs right now, because hold on, let me just build this out. I need to remember V17. I'm not against the AI coding stuff, but I think the problem is that I have, I don't know, like 25, maybe 30 years. God, it's got to be 30 years at this point of development experience. I mean, I can write low level compilers. I mean, so I just got into the point in my life like, do I really want to be doing that? I rather focus on the UX of an app and the idea, and if the AI can get me closer and do it for me quicker, so that I can go back and focus on the stuff that I actually like doing. Like I really enjoy a lot more doing like rendering engines and visual stuff. So if I can get the AI to do all the crap I don't want to do, especially anything related to a database or front end, I've noticed that it's super, at least this Lovable thing, which I'm going to try to jump into if I can get this database working. Yeah, it's like just creating all the CRUD stuff is like, it's so much better and so much faster. But the workflow I'm trying to get now is where it's sort of this hybrid where I can have the AI tool jump in, do some stuff, but I still have all the source code and I can go in on my own. Yeah, this is true. It is definitely worth using for the Docker stuff. It is. The Docker is terrible. Look at this shit. What is going on here? Unknown option host. Do you actually know what you are doing? Why are we getting this error? Like, there's something going on here, and honestly, I'm just about to go look at the. Yeah, the error means that you're using a newer version of the directed CLI where the augmented format changed again. Let's fix this properly. I hate my biggest issue, honestly, with the AI stuff is that it is so overly confident. It actually reminds me of every junior developer I've ever had work for me. Like it swears that it knows exactly what to do. It tells you that it's right, and it is just it couldn't be any further off from the truth. And also, what I'm noticing is I'm trying to see here. All right, I'm going to do this one last time, but I actually want to go test out. I want to go look at the documentation. Directus Bootstrap MySQL. Let me go look at let's go look at the documentation and see what I'm just going to search for this and see what comes up. How to run MySQL via Docker Compose. Yeah, see, this is the stuff that I can't stand. Like now I got to go through and sift through all these issues, try to find the right person who figured out how to fix this. Directus docs, configure JS. What about the Directus? Is there a CLI documentation? API reference. What is it trying to do? Let me see here. Can I search the site? Bootstrap? I don't know Bootstrap. If you're relying on Docker and or the directive CLI command, you can pass this following to an you say you find it annoying how confident the AI is find in their skills, like they think they are programmers because they used AI. Yeah, well, I don't know if using AI makes you a programmer, but I agree. People, I will say I suffer from this too. I wind up I feel more confident in doing stuff that I normally wouldn't do. Like I normally wouldn't even bother with this back end stuff, but I feel like I can eventually talk to it enough to get myself out of a hole, and then it actually makes me go into whole areas that I never would really be coding in. I want to see this optional host, unknown error, optional host. Database host, Directus. Does it need the host? What I need to find is an example of how to configure. Is there a host? If the config path has no file extension or a file extension is not of the other supported formats, Directus will try to read the file config path as environmental variables. This has the following structure. Yes, I agree. As long as the AI is a tool and not being used as the only way of coding, then I totally agree. And I think that's just where I am. What I want to see, I've never even used this front end, so I have no clue what the hell I'm doing. I'm trying to see if there's let's do this. I'm just going to, is there anything in here that can help? Just here's the fucking docs. You read this whole thing and you tell me what the hell's going on. I'm too lazy. Yes, that confirms the Directus CLI bootstrap command now expects the database client as the first argument without flag. So this is the correct format. Okay. Let's try this one more time, and then if not, then I'm going to just roll my sleeves up and do this myself. I don't know if I particularly like this approach either that it's doing. It looks like it's just trying to run the Directus through the CLI when in reality what it should be doing is it should just create an environment file or a config for it, and then like doing this like this long strung together CLI command like by hand, even though the AI generated is always a recipe for disaster. All right, so V17, let's do V18. V18. My prediction was that I'd have this by version 20 of this Terraform template. I really hope that this is it. I'm so tired of this. My entire morning now has been trying to just get this front end for the database up and running and fighting with Docker and Terraform. V40. You want to see some scary shit? Here, hold on. Take a look at this stuff. Where are my other templates? What version am I on for this one? This one was the worst. I'm up to version 71, trying to get the Docker stuff automated correctly. It's just a brutal mess. Again, this is the I don't know what I'm doing, and I am just poking at things until something works. All right, come on, let's get past this. I wonder, the other approach to this is I might be able to do this in reverse, and I wonder if I could. Oh, come on, forget this. What is going on? No DB client, just this. Okay, all right, let's try this in a different way. Okay, still getting this error. You moron. Let's try a different approach. Why not create a config file instead of using the CLI and just write the environment variables into that. So is anyone doing Ludum Dare, the game jam, this weekend? No, you stupid thing. God, I understand how to write an environment file. I want you to write the environment file. Oh, God. I don't think it was happy I called it a moron. All right, here, do this again. No. Update this startup script with to create the file that Directus needs. Where was the documentation again? Let's see here. There was a config. I'm actually now. I'm just going to double check what the hell it's trying to do. Config path to config YAML. We can use a YAML file. We can use a JSON file. We can use an environment file. If the config path has no file extension or file extension is not the other supported. No, I'm not going to be part of Ludum Dare. I don't even have time for that. Yeah, it's I haven't done Ludum Dare in years, and maybe like 2 or 3 years. So I finally have cleared out my schedule to do it. All right. In case you prefer using a configuration file instead of environmental variables. All right, path to config file. See, here's where I think it's screwing up. I don't think you can pass it a path to the .environment files. I think it has to be, I think those environment variables need to be, environment variable file, db password file, run secrets of any of the variable typecasting. Hold on a second, let's just do this. Look at this documentation. Look at these docs and get this and pick the right solution. All right, we'll try this one last time. No, the theme is not released yet. I think it's tonight at 8. I've talked to Mike for years about trying to get it earlier. I'm on the East Coast. I'm in New York. So, sorry, hold on one second. Let me see what this should be inserted before the directive start. Let me know when you want to show where exactly to inject this. Will direct this automatically load this up because I don't see a path in the docs for .env files. Also, let's make sure this is crap. This is the problem. I don't like doing it this way because once it writes this file, if I ever go in and tweak anything, I don't want it to it won't update it correctly if there's any changes. Let's do this. We'll leave it as is for right now. I guess what I'm trying to think ahead of is that whenever the container is restarted, it's going to wipe everything. But I've mounted the points where the database will write its data to my local volume, so it'll stay persistent. What I want to make sure though is that it doesn't, like if something changes in my configuration, like I changed the password, for example, I don't want it to then not update this file just because it exists. So let me copy this back out. All right, okay. Let's get it to work and then we'll deal with that later. Now show me an updated file, updated startup. I can't believe I've been doing this for almost 2 hours now and I still can't get this stupid front end to work. I mean, I could believe it because this is like every time I deal with back end stuff. I don't understand how anyone does this. I'm ready to go back to just writing game engines at this point. All right, come on. The problem with making game engines is they don't make any money. So I'm trying to remember how many. I think I worked on Pixel Vision 8 for like 7 years, and I think I only made like 10 grand on it. It's not a good return on investment. But if you build a web app and throw AI into it, everyone will buy it. Oh no, it is so not. I totally disagree with manually creating a Docker file. It's first off, I have such a crazy setup right now. Let me build this. We're in V19. Come on, this is the magic one, right? V19. So the way I have all this set up is that I just gotten to the point where I hate having to reset up development environments, especially when there's like dependence and all that kind of stuff, right? So what I've done is I have a Mac Mini that sits in a closet that runs as my server, and everything is run through this front end here called Coder, so that I can templatize anything. So once I get these templates working, I could just throw in, I could just say, okay, pop up, create a whole new workspace for me, and then just start coding, and I don't have to worry about any of the dependencies or any of that stuff. I meant to manually create a new server, install Linux on it, and then install everything you need. Oh yeah, that's you're a masochist. That's your problem. I don't. The thought of having to like reconfigure a computer by hand every time I. Whoa! I think it works. Does this work? Let's see. Definitely isn't showing me that hidden file. All right, close this out. See, the thing about this is that now that I have all this hosted and I have Visual Studio hosted from my server, I can access it anywhere I am. And so my laptop now, which is a really crazy laptop, I wound up buying a Lenovo Fold 16, which I love and is probably the best laptop I've ever had. It's stupid weak though. So now I don't care. All my processing power sits in my server closet. All right, this works. What we're going to do right now is I want to, forget this. All right, DB test 14. Let's open up, well, we can do it this way. First off, we'll open up the ports and let's take a look at port 8080. And do we get a front end? Ah, I got excited for a second there. I really thought this was going to work. It doesn't like this, huh? Let's refresh this. Am I in the right? Yeah. All right. I have set. All right. This appears to work, but when I load the site on port 8080, I get all these errors. Come on. The errors usually mean the directors can't find or serve the front end files. It's serving fallback HTML. Quick fix. You're missing the serve app equal true setting in environment variables, and add this to the dot section. All right. Sure, whatever. Let's just do this by hand because I'm too lazy to like go back and deal with this. We're in test 14. Now I just got to find where the hell it wrote that stupid file. File. Open file. Where? DB. Come on. Where'd you write this file to? Make directus cd directus. Why is this not? Hold on. Go back to directory. .env. Whoa, I don't even see this path. What is going on? Okay. I don't know where it wrote that to. So let's just do what it was suggesting. And I'm like in like, I wouldn't call it desperation mode at this point, but wait, what are you doing? Oh my God, it's so stupid. It's not even passing. Oh, is it? Oh, admin email. Fine. Okay. But it's not passing in the password database. Okay, I see. I just need to give it an admin username and password. Blah, blah, blah. All right. Let's put this in here. Let's see. I really want to know where the hell it's writing this to, though. Because if I look at this, it's in the root. Is that really where it's writing this to? So it's completely ignoring the fact that all this stuff is inside of the workspace. File. Open file. Directus. Of course. Why would it not put it in the right place? Okay. I guess I'm rolling up my sleeves here because I don't like the way that it's doing this. What I want to see is workspace / project directus directus. All right, so this is doing a workspace directus. Fine. All right, this is the path that it needs to use. This is the way. So let's go and fix this problem. Yeah, if you blindly follow like what ChatGPT does, then you're gonna be in for a world of hurt. Because it just makes shit up like all the time. All right, this is it. This is magical version 20. This is where it needs to end. Also, I need to go have lunch. V20. And now let's go back to our workspace and can we do it? Can we build this correctly? I mean, the whole reason I'm trying to do this now is because yesterday when I was building out, I built out like a whole sort of API to manipulate the database myself, or at least a lovable connect and do it through a set of APIs. But then starting to create all the APIs and the endpoints became like so painful that I wanted something that was just going to be open. And all this honestly is just because I I don't want to pay Superbase any more than I am. I have like 2 projects up and running on it. They're not even in production, and I'm already spending $40 a month. Ooh, did not like this. Workspace DB14 directus. No such file or directory. Yeah. Okay, sorry, I screwed that up. That's me. That's all me. This should be slash workspace directus. Temp directus, sure, fine. Bootstrap directus. Okay, that was my fault. Here we go. V21. I should have just had ChatGPT verify it, but I'm not very happy with it right now. All right, can we do it? So I'm trying to figure out what I want to do for Ludum Dare. Usually I work backwards, where I have some sort of game or idea in my head of what I want to build, and then I just sort of throw the the theme on top of it somehow. I've been playing around with. I've been building this other app. I'm calling What the Prompt, which is I've been taking the Blockly editors that you use in like Scratch, and I've been using them to create a tool to teach kids how to do AI prompting by using building blocks. And while I was doing that, I thought it'd be interesting. I really love building text adventure games, and I thought it'd be interesting to build a text adventure game that uses the Blockly stuff, and then you can basically build a block for a room and then put all the stuff inside of the room and then link up the room to another room. And what I was thinking about doing is building out this sort of tool to visually build out a text adventure game. And then at least if my math is correct, I will spend Saturday and Sunday building the tool, because I actually like building tools better than games. And then on Monday, before the end of the competition, I'll build the game itself. And every time I've tried this, I've completely failed. So let's see if this will be the time that it works. All right, let's close this out and refresh, and nothing. Absolutely nothing. Why? What is going on? Where did the console go? All right, I am still getting all these errors. Whoops, that didn't do it. Copy. All right, here is my startup. I want this to work. The worst is when you're using like the AI and you get in these like loops where it tells you to do something it already told you to do, and then you do it, and then it tells you no, do it again, and you just keep going around and around in circles. It's still better than searching through Reddit to find one random person who's done the same thing that you wanted done. It looks fine. So mostly an issue with this is serving a fallback HTML page instead of the actual page. Invalid public traffic not routing correctly. Files found in admin. Let's try this first. Public explicitly. I wonder if. Hold on. No. First off, this is the problem. Wait. Public URL is going to be is not going to be. Whoops. It's not going to be coder. It should be coder username. What was it? Coder username workspace dot weekend code project. Hmm. I wonder if it may be onto something here, because it did tell me to change the environment variable. Hold on, let's see here. We got this serve app true. Let's go and find that other random one it created. Open file. Here's root directus. Oh, shoot. What is it doing? Is it not doing this correctly? Cool. Stop saying cool. Oh my god. ChatGPT sometimes they update it. It was using like tons of emojis and I have to curse at it all the time to stop using emoji. Then update the public URL in your dot environment, but like this. Username project. Wait, no, something is wrong here. All right, let's take one step back. Where I want to consolidate where things are placed. So I'm now seeing a slash directus direct db folder folder, but everything should be in slash workspace. This. Can you look this over, give me the fixes, and make sure everything is consistent, and that the .env file is where it should be. Actually, I think I want to get rid of this. I don't really like this. I want to. I was actually going back to the documentation. I kind of feel like I want it to be. Where was that other? Did I lose that other documentation page? This isn't. This is just all the. Oh no, here it is. I'm wondering if it's easier just to tell it the config path and have it create like a JSON file, and then we can update the JSON file a lot easier than this .environment file. Let me see what it comes up with, and then I'm going to take a break for lunch, and I'll just play around with this for the rest of the afternoon without boring everyone who is watching, and come up with some solution. So I have the rest of the day to figure out this database stuff, hopefully in time for Ludum. Change this line, cd workspace directus to make directory and cd create the update the Docker mounts. Oh my god. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna call it, and then I'll come back and deal with this after lunch, because I'm also like starving, and now this is just driving me nuts. So anyways, my plan for the weekend I'm just going to be streaming the entire time and trying to get a game built. So for the next couple of days, I'll be streaming, just like the good old days when I used to do this, and hopefully we'll build something. And I really hope that the theme is actually good. Historically, the themes were always terrible. So anyways, enjoy the rest of your guys' Friday, and hopefully I'll see you on the weekend.